Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Musical People on Journeys new rock album reviews, and welcome to my crew, Will, Trish and Simon.
Good morning. No, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good time.
And to our missing colleague Dom, who unfortunately had previously booked a weekend away, so he can't be with us. But however, Dom, as we all know, has sent his votes in, and so we kind of know what to expect on that one. However, he did take the air of mystery away and let everybody on the email and have told him off for that. But anyway, let's crack on. Who have we got today? And so we have reviewed 2 albums, and we're going to pit them head to head and see which we would buy. But more importantly, will they reach our hallowed grounds of our Hall of Fame? And will they get into our shortlist for Album of the Year? Who knows? And there is some really strong competition out there. The numbers keep falling. The records keep falling. We keep getting new top of the charts. This year has been a bountiful, amazing new albums coming to there. But so who will join them? So today's battle is Fall Out Boy versus Last in Line. So let's check them out. Who are Fall Out? If you don't know Fall Out Boy, but I'll give you a quick synopsis. We'll go to them first of all. Fall Out Boy is an American rock band formed in Willamette, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago in 2001. The band consists of lead vocalist guitarist Patrick Stump, bassist Pete Wentz, drummer Andy Hurley, and guitarist Joe Trohaman. The band originated from Chicago's hardcore punk scene and was formed by Wentz and Trohaman in a pop-punk side project. Stump joined shortly after. The group went through a succession of drummers before Hurley joined. Their debut album, Take This to Your Grave 2003, became an underground success and helped the band gain a dedicated fan base through heavy touring. Take This to Your Grave is cited as influential pop-punk music in the 20,000s. There we go. Oh, I could go on. They've won Grammys for Infinity High, Billboard 2000, $250,000 their first week of sales, blah de blah de blah. You get the gist on Fall Out Boy. Now, who can we start with? Who shall we start with? Well, we've got to start with the person that we know watched Fall Out Boy and apparently, shockingly, is a fan of Fall Out Boy. So, Will, talk to me. Fall Out Boy. I mean, you are a fan, I believe, and
I've been known to dabble in much of their works.
And what did you think of their brand new album? Talk to me.
I am very, very keen on this album. It's very good. I was been following its release since they released the Love from the Other Side single at the beginning of this year, which sort of came out of nowhere, which was a phenomenal song. And as I keep saying, I'm convinced it's the reason why Panic at the Disco dissolved and doesn't exist, because they released that single, then Brendan Urie finally dissolved Panic at Disco, clearly because he realised that good music was back and he couldn't keep dragging his tails along anymore. This is a fantastic album. It's very much just their sound still. They've gone back to sort of like pop punky, original kind of sounds they had before, which I'm fantastic. Patrick's vocals are phenomenal as always. They've not changed at all over time. Just better. And this is a very, very good album. Very strong.
So,
very enjoyable.
However, if listeners to the show and us to the show would try to go what your style would be, because I would go, this is very much an indie kind of rock pop band. I would go, this goes against everything that you ever talk about. Whenever we get a similar, whenever we say this, it goes against everything you. So what's so special about Fall Out Boy for you? Then
it's pop punk, so it's not really like traditional like indie stuff, because indies, as I say, shit. It's pop punk, so it's got like a poppy sound, but it's the punky kind of lyrics. The actual like they play instruments, unlike most other pop artists who are incapable of any kind of competent music making. I said it.
You crack on, mate. That's absolutely fine.
Great. But no, it's pop punk, so it's poppy sounds, lyrics, but with very like punky kind of music and backing tracks, kind of those kind of themes in the songs as well.
Cool.
Yeah, early 2000s pop punk, the good shit.
Fair enough. Trish, then, Fall Out Boy. Would you fall for Fall Out Boy? Did you fall for Fall Out Boy?
Well, I've actually seen them at the Isle of Wight Festival.
Have you? Okay.
And surprisingly,
Should have started with you.
Hella Megatour.
Few years ago, and they were actually put on quite early in the day for what now they would probably be a headline act. I like their sound. This is Fall Out Boy at their best. They know what they're doing and what their bread and butter is. It's a sound that works for them, even with some of the songs had the narration bit before. This is a consistent album with pop tracks and the odd track that winds the tempo down. The lead singer's vocals distinctive as always. It has some belting tracks that brings a smile to your face. This album is feel-good fun.
Cool. Simon, pop punk, tick your boats?
What an opening track to the album. The guitar riffs quicken your pulse, the drum beats get your rhythm going, then the vocals kick in, and that whole song just sings. It's fantastic. The rest of the album, for me, takes you on a wild ride. It covers old school Fall Out Boy, new styles, mostly seems to cater to the vocals though. Very reminiscent of Brendan Urie for me, and his solo work. And then there are a couple of self-indulgent spoken word tracks, which for me, because we do review these as an entire album, they definitely detract from the album overall for me, because it just feels unnecessary, because it's not like it's a concept album where they're trying to tell some grandiose story. That just didn't gel for me. I'm sure they have some higher profound meaning, or maybe there's some nod to longtime fans who know the deep lore of Fall Out Boy, but for me it's just two tracks that I have to skip. I did, however, find that after I finished the album, I didn't really recall a lot of the tracks. I didn't really remember much off of it. It all sort of blended into one sound. But big shout out to the Kinski Kid 10 Years, because that was an absolute cracking track, though.
It's funny you mentioned about Panic at the Disco, and we give it a pretty much terrible review because they tried to do things that were not Panic at the Disco, went off in directions that just simply did not work, and was a highly disappointed album. I didn't realise that it disbanded. I'll come back again in 5 years and get reformed or something. But anyway, what Fall Out Boy as an album does for me, and I disagree with you, Will. I do think it is indie. It is pop punk, but it is more biased towards indie rock. Any shadow of a doubt, without any shadow of a doubt. And this is from somebody who likes that. I think there's an amalgamation of a lot of things, because there are tracks in here that are pop punk, but there are also tracks that are very indie. Anyway, that's not to say, what I love about this album is that what Fall Out Boy have gone and done is that they haven't gone to reinvent themselves. They haven't gone to do some prog metal stuff. They haven't tried to go, oh, we're a bit bored with our sound, we'll try something new. No. What they've done is they've gone, this is our sound, we're just going to make it better. We're just going to refine it. We're just going to even perfect the art of what we do even better. And you've got to tip your hat off to, because this is a toe-tapping, fun, feel-good album from the word go. And I actually disagree with what Simon said about some of the spoken words. I think the seashell bit is so poignant. I don't think it's about a concept. I think it's probably about a moment in time, and it might be a true story about his dad and about cancer. But what I loved about it was it symbolised the fact that actually, without spoiling it, there was nothing. She shell's empty. So what is the meaning of life? Well, it's in the simple things. It's in enjoying. I love the fact, it's enjoying a cheeseburger, and that was great. And I think that when you listen to the lyrics, and some of the lyricism in this album, even though it was very light-hearted, was sublime. It was terrific, and it hit home. And also, what I loved about it as well is that his vocals, the range of his vocals, is phenomenal. Absolutely, he could probably compete up there with Mika, from the high levels down to low levels. The variation, I love variation in an album, and this gives me that variation in this album, as well as keeping that feel-good factor right the way through it. I love this album. I mean, would it be my album of the year? No, but it's still a phenomenal album in what it's trying to do and what it's achieved. absolutely credit where credit's due. I thought it was absolutely terrific album. However, who are they up against? Well, they are up against Last in Line. Now, did you two do what I told you? Listen to the album and not actually discover who they were, by the way, afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Lovely. So, Last in Line, a British rock band formed in 2012 by former members of the original lineup of Dio. The band's name comes from the 1940 Dio album Last in Line, following the death of frontman Ronnie James Dio in 2010. The original lineup, drummer Vinia Peace, bassist Jimmy Bain, guitarist Vivian Campbell, and keyboard Claude Schnell, reunited along with vocalist Andrew Freeman to perform the Dio songs they originally recorded. The band released the studio album original material without Schnell, titled Heavy Crown, in February 2016. After the death of James Dio in 2010, Vivian Campbell sent to motion the idea of reuniting original members of Dio for the first time since his departure from the band in 1986. The idea came to fruition when he joined a Peace, Bain and Schnell to a jam session with vocalist Freeman in February 2012. In May 2012, it was announced that the group would begin performing live shows under the name Last in Line. After the first album they released together with Dio, the band played songs from the first three Dio albums, Holy Diver, Last in Line, Sacred Heart. Rehearsals continued the following weeks before Campbell joined Def Leppard on their 2012 Rock of Ages tour and resumed in 2012. I will finish this off. The band's first public took place in 2013 at the Slide Bar in Fullerton, California. Every song from Holy Diver was played in addition to 5 tracks from Last in Lines and 2 from Sacred Heart. Wow. Dio, people without Ronnie Dio. What did it do for you then? Trish, Last in Line. Talk to me.
Why did you come to me first?
Well, because I started with Will and he's on my screen top, and then I go round the houses.
Oh, okay.
So Last in Line is yours.
I just thought you had picked me because this album is the epitome of 80s heavy metal rock music, with tracks like Bastard Son and Do the Work, which could easily be a festival stage sing-along and being a personal favourite of mine. This album delivers torrents of riffs, wrecking ball rhythms. This is an outstanding album full of great songs, fantastic playing, and really just an absolutely solid rock album. Very highly recommended. I fully enjoyed this. If you're looking for a top choice hard rock album, then Jericho delivers in spades.
Simon, Last in Line. Was it Last in Line for you, mate? What did you think?
I think this is a good old bit of hard rock. Crashing drums, pounding guitar solos, vocal wails that don't split my eardrums. It was great. The guitar playing Bastard Son in particular, I was air guitaring along to that. Crunchy riffs at the ends of Wall of Jericho. Really, really enjoyed those. I can envision so many of these tracks being played out in like a rocky desert, bottles of whiskeys propping up black leather sleeveless jackets as a top-down Chevy bounces down a highway.
Hold on.
It's fantastic.
Hold on. I'm just closing my eyes. I'm just there. I'm spiritually there. Okay, go on.
Exactly. Yeah, as I said, there's just something very fun about this album, which is, I always find it as a weird way to describe a ream of hard rock tracks, but the songs are on point, they're well composed, don't feel let down by any of it. Usually hard rock albums lose me because they sort of just meander about long dusty roads and forlorn love for a horse or something, but I genuinely enjoyed this album. I think the decisive factor is that the fact that the vocals are great. He's got a really good range and he's not trying to break whiskey glasses with it. I think I've just really enjoyed it.
Ooh, okay. Will, aficionado of guitar riffs, talk to me.
Hi. I had opinions about this album. They weren't wholly positive. I did think, because I was really into it, I did think it was a bit weird that we had, arguably one of the most famous bands and what they are, Fall Out Boy, against an album with like at most 10,000 views per song. It seemed a bit weird to me at first, having those against each other. I found it a bit dull for my tastes. That old school sound of metal and hard rock for me is just, it doesn't have enough to keep me interested.
Not your bag.
And, pull me in. Because as Simon knows, the longer I'm around, the heavier my music taste is getting. From like metalcore to deathcore stuff like that. So going from things
He
like
said
that,
just after raving about a pop punk album called Fallout.
I'm allowed to have my youthful memories. Thank you very much.
Had to love your guilty pleasures.
My they say it was an emo phase, but the emo phase never truly left. The mid-20s emo resurgence is here, and Fall Out Boy is helping to keep that going very strongly.
Okay.
But it's just, it's not a bad album at all by any stretch of the word. But for me, it's just, it doesn't have enough to keep my interest and me entertained in it. It's got decent guitars. His vocals are all right. It's the kind of, it grinds a bit too much for me. I really like the way he sings and how it's sort of how the sounds like it's been composed, but it's they made an album. Good job. I'm proud of you. Well done.
You see, what appalls me about that review is that you proclaim to be you love your guitar riffs and you love the composition of guitar riffs, and within this album is some of the best guitar riffs and guitar playing I've heard all year. I mean, some of it is absolutely phenomenal, and I didn't know who they were. I just I haven't kept up with it. I didn't realise it was Dio. So when I went to this album and I went like, wow. I mean, some of those guitar riffs were amazing. Who the hell are these people? I've never heard of them. And of course, obviously, I'd listened to the album twice before finding out that they were ex-members of Dio, and I went, oh, that would explain it why. And I'm glad I didn't know that, because I might well have compared Freeman with Dio, and there is no comparison. And Freeman, in fairness, doesn't try to compare. He doesn't try to emulate Dio in any shape, way, or format. It's his own voice, and it's pretty damn solid. It's not the best I've heard, but it's certainly not the worst. It is pretty damn good, and it's pretty good wide range. But for me, I mean, and obviously, yes, I'm not criticising Will Too Heavy, because our years tune into certain things, and for me, I tuned into that sort of genre of music and those guitar riffs from my day. But but it did feel, we talk about old dad school rock, but it has to have something fresh and it has to be brought into the modern age, and they do that. They are very experienced. They're very cool. Some great compositions, some great guitar play. I mean, some great guitar play. In particular, Bastard Son. I smiled at the words of Bastard Son and Walls of Jericho, which are both my two favourites. Some of the guitar work in those are just off the flipping chart. Off the chart, and I would put them up against any kind of power metal kind of bands out there by a million miles. I thought it was absolutely terrific. It was really, really, really good. So, however, let's compare then. Let's find out who we're going to buy, shall we?
Do we need to hear what Dom thought?
Well, no, we won't read. We'll just give Dom scores.
Okay.
If he's not here to deliver them, if he wants to go sauntering off the whatever, then we'll sum it up in his scores from that side of things as well. So let's find out then, shall we? William, we'll start with you then. Fall Out Boy.
4.5.
4, not a 5.
Speaking tracks were needless and pointless.
I thought the opposite. Last in Line.
2.
2?
That's average, right?
No, 2.5 is average.
A bit below average.
Come on,
if you let me finish speaking, go.
Tom, Will.
So rude.
Go
on then.
Continue.
Sorry, you were going to carry on speaking.
2.
But you said it was average, and I'm saying I disagree. That's not average.
I said average, and I started saying below average, but I was so rudely interrupted.
Oh, tell him I'm being rude today. Below average. That's
well
fine.
done, Will.
That's fine. Absolutely fine. Okay. Right. Trish. Fall Out Boy.
5.
5. And Last in Line.
5.
5. Woo-hoo. You are on a 5 track this month, aren't you? I think that's your 5th 5. So, which is awesome. So, but anyway, okay. Simon. Right. Sorry. Who would you buy? You've got £15.
Last in Line.
Last in Line. Okay. And Simon, Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, 3.
3. Oh, okay. And above average, then slightly above average. Yeah.
Slightly.
And Last in Line.
4.5.
Ooh. that's exciting.
Interesting.
I know, right? Right. We'll leave Dom to last because that makes it a bit more exciting. Surprisingly, I give Fallout Boy a 5. I think they deserve a 5. I think it's probably for pop punk pop indie genre, it's the best I've heard by a mile. So I have to give it a 5. Last in Line got a 4.5. So I've edged it towards Fallout Boy, which is bizarre. I love both of these albums, but I keep coming back time and again to Fallout Boy, and I will more happy to listen to it again. I think I have to be more in the mood for Last in Line, but Fallout Boy, I just loved it. I thought it was absolutely terrific. So we're 2 apiece. We are 2 apiece, and equally, Fallout Boy's on 10, 14.5, 17.5. Therefore, it gets more than 2.5 from Dom. It hits our Hall of Fame and gets in there. Last in Line is on 9.5, 11.5, 11.5, 16. So if it gets a 4 or more, it also gets into the Hall of Fame. Wowzers. It's all on Dom, but he's not even here. I mean, how exciting is that? Fallout Boy, he gives 3.5. It's into our Hall of Fame. So 14.5, 17.5, 21. That's really good.
Ooh.
That is super good. So yeah, 21. Amazing. Okay. So we're on 9.5, 11.5, 15. I count these scores. I've got to get it right, everybody. 11.5. Yeah. So it's on 16. So will Dom give Last in Line a 4? Will it get into our Hall of Fame? If it gets a 5, it ties with Fallout Boy. He give Last in Line a 4. So as a purchase, we buy. It's a tie. Both albums are phenomenal. Both albums are written into our Hall of Fame, which is fantastic. One Last in Line just crawled into there. Fallout Boy certainly gets in there. Both in line for possible albums of the year. Who knows? But overall, we would buy 3-2. We would buy Last in Line. So, but there we go. So what a way to start, guys. And I don't know if you know, but you guys, all 3 of you, are famous because your Love Bites versus Godsmack album is now at 947 views. So please, hopefully we can get over to 1,000. Typically these things stop, but if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to our channel. Please promote it. Please push it out there. Last month's reviews made us feel so good about what we do and the fact that everybody also enjoys what we do. And so there we go. So congratulations to Fallout Boy. Congratulations to Last in Line. Well done. 2 terrific albums. What a way to start the month. Thank you to my crew. Thank you to William. Thank you to Trish. Thank you to Simon. Great show. And keep on rocking out there, everybody.